So this is the solution for class 9 half yearly exam, St. Augustine School. The first question, a 10 Newton force acts on a body of mass 100 grams. The acceleration produced is, so force is mass into acceleration. So acceleration is force upon mass. Here force is given as 10 Newton. The mass is given as 100 grams. So you know that we cannot keep the mass in grams. We need to convert it into kilograms by dividing by 1000. So in this case you get 10 and 1000 goes up 100 here and Newton per kg, so which is 100. And we know the unit for acceleration is also meter per second square. So this option is correct. Then we have an object is placed equidistant from two perpendicular mirrors. So this could be the perpendicular mirrors. So we can just, so if the object is here, one image is formed here, another image is formed here, and another image is formed here. So three images are formed. Which of the following equations is correct? So we know S is ut plus half at squared. But here, just to confuse you, this half is written as 0.5 at squared. So this option is correct. Another very important question, the SI unit of force is Newton. In terms of fundamental units, it can be written as, so equation that defines force is F equal to m into A. So 1 Newton is 1 kg into 1 meter per second square. So in terms of the fundamental unit, it is kg fundamental unit, meter fundamental unit, second square fundamental unit. So it is kg meter per second square. Now we have ice floats on water. So the reason why ice floats on water, so you know that when ice is immersed in water, more than 97% of it is below the surface of water. The reason why ice floats on water is because for equal masses, the volume of ice is more, which means density of ice is less than the density, more than the density of ice is less than the density of water. So when 1 kg of water freezes into ice, it expands. Therefore, ice has less density than water. So the reason why ice has less density than water is because of anomalous expansion. A virtual image can be photographed, true or false? We know that our image in a mirror can be photographed. So it is true. A virtual image can be photographed. A car starts from rest, so u is 0 meters per second, accelerates at the rate of 10 meter per second square. The velocity at the end of 10 second is how much? So v is u plus a t. So 0 plus 10 into 10, 100 meters per second. Water is heated so that its temperature increases. So let's say initial temperature is 10 degrees centigrade, which is 10 plus 273 Kelvin, and the final temperature is 45 degrees centigrade, which is 45 plus 273 Kelvin. So the change in temperature is 45 minus 10, which is 35 degrees centigrade. But when you minus this and this, because the 273 is common to both, it cancels, so you get 35 Kelvin. Therefore here 35 degrees centigrade is correct, 35 Kelvin is correct. So both of the above options are correct. Next we have a ray of light. A ray makes an angle of 30 degrees with the surface of the mirror. So let's say this is the mirror and the normal is here. So your ray of light, so it makes an angle of 30 degrees. So mind you, this is the angle of incidence. So here this angle of incidence is 90 minus 30, which is 60. So I is equal to R, which is 60. So 60 degrees is the angle of reflection. Newton's law of universal gravitation. So if you have mass m1 here and mass m2 here, and they are separated by distance r, then Newton's law says each of these masses will attract each other with a force which is universal gravitational constant is here m1 m2 by r square. So the option that is correct is this one. Is it possible for a single concave mirror to produce a real and upright image of an object? We know that a concave mirror will produce an upright image only when the object is very close to the mirror, but in this case the image is formed virtual. The upright image is formed virtual. For any other position, that is when the object is further away from the mirror, the images are going to be all real. Like for example, if the object was here, then you would have a real image, but it would be inverted. So can a single concave mirror produce a real and upright image? No, it will not be able to do that. So it's false. Which of these gases have the most pronounced greenhouse effect? Here carbon dioxide is also an important greenhouse gas, but methane has got a much more pronounced greenhouse effect compared to carbon dioxide. Methane is a gas that is released when organic matter rots away, and its impact on global warming is many times more than that of carbon dioxide. Compared to a bucket of lukewarm water, a red hot nail has less energy but more temperature. That is correct. Red hot nail will have less mass, therefore less energy, but it has higher temperature. Therefore, when you have a red hot nail and a bucket of water, the heat will flow from the nail to the water because its temperature is more than that of water. Which of these is not a fundamental quantity? Second is a fundamental quantity. Current is also a fundamental quantity. So for electricity, current is taken as a fundamental quantity. Luminous intensity is also a fundamental quantity. So the one that is not a fundamental quantity is charge. So you should choose that option. Apples fall. So if this is a branch in which an apple is there, when the branch is shaken, the branch moves, but the apple remains in the state of rest and continues to do so. So that's a case of Newton's first law. Now we have the following diagram. So if you look at the diagram, so you've got a diagram here, and then we have an incident ray given like this. So this is your incident ray. Now we note here that F and C is given here. So in order for us to get the reflected ray, we need to get the normal first. So we know that for a curved surface, normal is something that passes through the center of curvature. So you should have drawn this as the normal, and then you should measure out this angle of incidence and then measure out an equal angle of reflection, and then this is your reflected ray. Similarly for this one, which is much simpler, now you have this one. So you have the incident ray here like this. Let's choose the color. So it's at 45 degrees. So we draw the normal. So if this is 45, this is 45. So our reflected ray will also be 45. You can measure it properly. So this is your reflected ray. Now next one, draw graphs to show how density and volume of water varies with temperature. So just draw the volume with temperature. So just the volume is a minimum at 4 degrees centigrade. So you can just draw this kind of a graph. And density with temperature, again at 4 degrees centigrade, density is a maximum. So you should draw something like this. Define anomalous expansion of water. Expansion of water when cooled below 4 degrees centigrade. So when cooled below 4 degrees centigrade, this one that you see here, this part, the graph going up when the temperature is coming down, this is anomalous expansion. Now state Newton's second law. So Newton's second law is the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied and takes place in the direction of the force. So you could have just written this also. Newton's second law. Change in momentum upon time. So this is the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the force. So proportional to the force, but in SI unit the constant of proportionality is 1. So we have this. This is Newton's second law. A car traveling at 1000 kg car traveling at 10 meters per second is brought to rest in 2 seconds. Calculate the acceleration of the car. So acceleration is v minus u upon t. So the car is brought to rest. So it's 0 final velocity. Initially it was moving at 10 meters per second and it was brought to rest in 2 seconds. So this is going to be minus 2 upon 2, which is minus 5 meters per second square. What is the force required to stop the car? M into A. So the mass is given as 1000 and the acceleration is minus 5. So minus 5000 Newton. You could also get your answer in plus. The negative sign implies that the force is stopping the motion. Derive a temperature for which the Celsius and the Fahrenheit scales give the same reading. So we have F minus 32 upon 9 is C by 5. So if you take this as X and this also as X, you have 5X minus 32 into 5 is 9x. So we have 9x minus 5x is minus 32 into 5. So x is minus 32 into 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. So 4 eighths. So minus 40. So minus 40 degrees centigrade is minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So what do you understand by the greenhouse effect? This is our atmosphere. So this is the earth. So this is the sun. Now let's draw blue color for long wavelength radiation. So this radiation is allowed to pass through and it will heat the surface of the earth, which will then again radiate heat back. So this is short wavelength radiation. So this heat is not allowed to escape. So greenhouse effect is the effect of the atmosphere in letting the short wavelength heat radiation from the sun to pass through it, but blocking the long wavelength radiation from the earth. So this trapping of heat is called greenhouse effect. And with the help of diagram, show action reaction pairs for a ball hanging by a thread. So let's say this is a support and this is ball hanging by the thread. So this is the weight, which is action, and the tension, which is the reaction. And a block on a table, again weight, which is action, and the reaction of the table on the ball, which is the reaction. So action and reaction, normal reaction. Action is the weight exerted by the block on the table. Reaction is the force exerted by the table on the block. And give any two properties of image formed by a plane mirror. You could write it is virtual and it is laterally inverted. But you could also write it is at the same distance from the mirror as the object, and you could also write size of the image is equal to the size of the object.